So I'll give you just a quick background
Sure.
on that one.
Yeah.
So we're doing a commercial kitchen renovation at the Admiral's House,
Yeah.
which is an individual landmark. But we're not touching the exterior in any way other than putting some vents on the roof.
Right.
So we did it as a test case with LTC with their new rules to see if we could get them to approve on the committee or on the staff level.
The staff level,
committee. And we just got it last week. So.
And didn't we see the venting when you came and talked about the exterior restoration?
We have not proceeded with the exterior restoration contract on that one yet.
But did we see the drawings when you?
I don't think so. Because it never went to. I think my understanding is unless it goes to committee, it's sort of a lower level review, and so it doesn't necessarily need to come to you.
No, but didn't you submit an application to have the exterior restored at some point?
No, that was for a different building. That was for building 110.
Oh, right, that's right.
Which is
Yeah.
the Lower Manhattan Cultural Council.
That's right,
building. And that project has proceeded, and they will reopen in September.
Right. Okay. But I mean, the venting is discreet and low and.
It's barely visible. You actually have to be on the lowest level of streets on the water side of the building, and when you're looking up, it's sort of a filtered view through trees, but the roof vents are metallic, and so is the roof. So we think once they're installed, they won't even really be visible. So.
Okay. So anyway, we're here to talk about Andy's Road.
Correct. Berry Road Wall. So, do you want me to jump in?
Yes, please. Do you want to do this, Jason?
Yes, I'd love to.
You know, you like government on
This is
it.
my type of one.
Yeah, yeah.
This is the old retaining wall.
This, right?
Yeah.
Can you, is there a way to send it full screen? All right, so good evening. My name is Matt Blood, and I'm the Director of Capital Projects for the Trust for Governor's Island. I'm here tonight to present a reconstruction project that we're in the process of undertaking, which is known as the Berry Road Retaining Walls. The walls have kind of reached an advanced stage of deterioration for a number of reasons, some of which you can see in this photograph. The original wall, we believe, was built around the time that the Governor's House was built in 1813. This would be the original portion here. In the early part of the 20th century, a pipe rail which existed on top of that wall was removed, and then they put these rather heavy limestone blocks on the top to sort of create a parapet wall. And then subsequently during the 1930s, when the building was renovated during the WPA era, they added this sort of garage here, which you'll see in later photos, this library area here, and they removed a historic porch, which was 3-story. At that time, they used the leftover brick to build these brick planters on both the lower wall and the upper wall, which ultimately became the undoing of the wall to some degree because you had water coming through the soil, going into the limestone blocks, freeze-thaw cycle, breaking the mortar, and then now getting into the historic portion of the wall. Simultaneously, there were a number of large London plane trees that existed here. There were 3. The first one actually was a chestnut, which was very old. We were very sad to see it go, but it was in bad condition. 2 London plane trees, and the tree roots from those trees were also pushing the top portion of the wall out. So now the limestone blocks actually are sort of almost cantilevered out over the wall. So the goal of the project is really to restore the wall back to its 1896 appearance, which involves the removal of subsequent courses of stone that were added, as well as the brick planters. The Trust sees this as a first phase of a multi-phase project for this landscape. What we're ultimately trying to do is reactivate the space behind the Governor's House, which is currently inaccessible to the public. As you'll see in future slides, it's got an incredible view of the Manhattan skyline. It's perched on the very northeast corner of the island. So I'll take you through and orient you with some site location. So this slide depicts the northeast corner of the island. A rather large area in sort of pinkish purple here is the Fort J. And then to the right here is the Governor's House site and the retaining walls toward the waterfront. Interesting thing to note is when the island was first under development as a fortification and the fort was being built, that Andy's Road was the original front door for the island. So all people arriving on the island essentially came to right now, which is Pier 102?
102,
Yeah. And this was the sort of main road to get to the fort. The building of the governor's house, which was originally built as a guardhouse, was one of the first residential structures actually built on the island.
Is any
there-
of that landfill?
Pardon?
Is any of that landfill through?
Actually, yes.
Yeah.
This area along here, the lower level along Kimmel Road is all landfill that was done as part of the island expansion, the early 1900s. So, but we're above that. This is actually on the original portion, and you'll see in photographs it sits rather high up. So the governor's house is an individual landmark. As I said, it's built in 1813, at the foot of Andes Road. Unfortunately, over the years, the building has lost some of its prominence, and the location has lost some of its prominence with the shifting of all ferry access to Swasson's Landing. This has sort of become a back entrance to the island. NYC Ferry was landing here for a bit, but the pier ultimately had some problems, so that's not happening anymore. So over its history, the building served as a guardhouse. It was also the commanding officer's house before the admiral's house was built. And then it served as office space toward the later part of its history. So here's a close-up of the existing site. It's a Google map, just kind of showing you. So here's the governor's house buildings, the backyard, the upper retaining wall, and the lower retaining wall. Berry Road was introduced much later in the 20th century. Probably sometime between 1915 and 1930, which necessitated the construction of the lower wall as a retaining wall. You can see the water here, Pier 102, Andes Road going up to the fort. So just to orient you, west is to the top, the governor's house is here. So what the upper portion of the wall does is it essentially creates an elevated platform behind the governor's house. It mitigates the grade change from Nolan Park down, stepping down to Berry Road, and then again stepping down to the waterfront. So here's some of our existing conditions photographs. This shot, number one, is from Pier 102, looking up at the wall from the intersection of Andes Road, Kimmel Road, and Berry Road. That's the lower wall there. Here's the reverse angle of that, looking from the very southwest corner down the lower wall and across the upper wall here. Shot of the backyard as it exists currently. These sort of brownish piles are the ground-up stumps from the old London plane trees that were taken out. One of the interesting things that happened, which is kind of something you see on the island, is over time the soil built up on this site significantly to the point where it's probably 1 foot to 2 feet from where it was 100 years ago. And actually now the soil kind of mounds up to the wall. So the problem we have with that is most places on the wall, the height from the ground to the wall is only about 20 to 24 inches. So it's a real fall hazard. And you look at this, drop is about 10 to 12 feet, something like that. So it's not really safe for the public to be there. This is the southwest corner where the old cobblestone driveway comes off Berry Road and the driveway to the house begins here. That location was hit by a fire truck a couple of years back when we had a fire at the Dutch House, and it did some structural damage to the wall in this corner, displaced some of the limestone blocks. Here's another shot of the lower wall here, and there's sort of a staircase that drops down to Kimmel Road to mitigate the grade. And then one of the historic precedents we took, on the very northwest corner of the house, so sort of coming off of Andes Road, there's an extant staircase which has been closed off for many years with a pipe handrail, which actually we think is one of the original features when the house had a pipe rail going across the entire backyard. There's a photo I'll show you in a minute that shows that. A couple more shots showing existing conditions of the limestone. So from the water penetration into the planters, cracks have formed that now project down through the limestone blocks and into the wall. Here's another close-up shot of that area that was struck by a fire truck. And just generally, we're experiencing like a sort of a very rapid deterioration that's going on here. All kind of started by those brick planters. Here's the north view of that. So this is the gate that I showed you. This is the north facade of the house, showing the limestone blocks kind of continuing around. There's also a little interesting remnant bus stop from when there was a bus stop at the bottom of Andes Road, a little concrete platform that was left over. And then this is the views of the lower wall. So the lower wall is actually in slightly better condition. You can see the different campaigns, the original campaign, the second campaign, and then the addition of the brick planters here. This is the upper view from Berry Road looking down, and this is from Kimmel Road kind of looking up. What's happened, I don't know if you can read this very well from the shot, but we've actually had portions of the wall just sort of drop. Luckily, the stone's still there, so we believe we can just rebuild it back to the way it was, and restore it and put a new coping stone where the planters are. So this is.
Where'd they get these stones
so-
from? These stones?
I'm
Where
sorry.
are the stones originally from? Somebody's
It's
moved
essentially
originally.
bedrock. We think
Oh,
it
that's
was
what it
just
is?
quarried on the island. Yeah,
Okay,
we
so it
just
was
think-
right there.
In fact, it's very fascinating.
Interesting.
Almost all the materials that are in this wall, like, we think were just borrowed from other buildings on the island as buildings were torn down.
Okay.
So it's really kind of like a DIY construction with the exception of the original portion, which was part of the wall. So in doing some historical research, we did come across this photograph from 1896, which is our precedent. It shows the wall when it was a guardhouse, pretty spectacular 3-story porch that was there at the time. So the building had a multi-function. It was a guardhouse. They used the lowest level as a brig at different points in time. There was a store on the main floor, and then the commanding officer had the residence on the top floor. When Admiral's House was built, the commanding officer moved to the Admiral's House. And then the building took on various functions, either residential or office, for the next 100 years of its history or so. Here's another shot of that same pipe rail. This is from late 1890s, the parade going up Andes Road. And then the earliest view of the stone, the limestone blocks we see, is from about 1907, which shows the addition. And then a view from the 80s kind of showing the garage and the driveway as had it been developed in the building's lifespan.
So was there a coping stone over the wall to which the railing, pipe railing
Yeah,
is
you
fixed?
you can kind of see it right here. It's hard to make out, but that would have been the coping stone right there. And the pipe rail.
And that's not there now, it's not
It's gone.
underneath
Yeah,
this.
no, they must have removed it when they put the blocks on, so there's nothing, there's no precedent to draw from. We do have bits of bluestone that make up part of the wall, and so we're leaning toward a coping stone that's going to look like that, but we're looking at a cast stone replacement, just because it will hopefully mitigate that overall look. And we've got a pretty long expanse to do. This is one of our low budget projects, so to speak. So anyway, Landmarks will tell us whether or not they approve of that. So, but that's something we're still considering. So this is the proposed site restoration that we're considering right now. It will address the upper wall, running from the driveway around to the staircase, as well as the lower wall. Part of it is subtraction. We'll be removing the limestone blocks. The historic rubble wall will be restored, new coping stone installed, and then a new pipe handrail with cables will be installed on top of the coping stone. Part of what I was describing before about how the land, the topography has now filled in up against the wall, so we're going to have to do some grading behind the wall in order to make it work. We do have an archaeologist that we've contacted, Linda Stone, who's going to be helping us with that process because we're not really sure what's accumulated in terms of any artifacts over the years. There's no excavation or grading work that's associated with the lower portion of the wall, but the brick planters will be removed and a new coping stone will be installed on that.
And that
This-
coping stone's cast stone?
Cast stone, yeah. And at this time, we're not planning on putting the railing on the lower portion of the wall, just on the upper portion because of the fall height. So here's our new proposed elevation, showing how the pipe rail with cables will look on top of the wall. So you can see the new coping stone running across below. Pipe handrail is essentially the same design as what was there in 1896, very utilitarian, simple in terms of its design. And then the cable is really a code issue. You're not able to pass a 4-inch spear through the in between, so we've got to kind of mitigate that. This is the view on the north side. This gate will remain as a historic element, and the pipe rail that's existing will also remain.
What color is the pipe rail? It looks like it's white on the rendering.
Yeah, at this point in time, we're leaning toward a stainless steel finish on it.
White, color white?
Stainless steel.
Stainless
Stainless
steel,
steel,
yeah.
so it's silver.
It's sort of a
Instead of
silverish
black.
color, yeah.
Okay.
We discussed going the black route, but then it becomes kind of hard to distinguish the older elements that are remaining, particularly the pipe rail here at the back staircase. And we think it's a little bit too close to what was there originally, so this sort of stainless is our first pass at it, and we'll see how Landmarks reacts to that.
Yeah, and you're reconstructing the wall with experienced stonemasons using natural
Absolutely. They'll
hydraulic
do-
lime
yeah,
mortar?
Yeah, they're gonna do a mortar analysis as
Right.
part of the contract to determine what the original mortar was.
We should
that'll
know
be, compatible with what's there.
You're using natural hydraulic lime.
Correct, yeah, so they, there have been many campaigns of parging over the top. We're gonna be undoing those, and there's a lot of bad mortar that was used, for lack of a better way of saying it. We will be undoing that and basically repointing.
And how much do you think you, when you look at the renderings, I mean, my God, the middle one compared with the new one, I mean, doesn't look so great, but you're going to utilize all of the existing stone you can.
Correct, yeah, it's a little hard to, I'll put that one up for everybody else
Yeah,
to
I mean-
see. It's sort of hard to get the hatch pattern to
Going to
match
Legoland.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, this is what you do when you have a rendering. You find a stone that roughly approximates, so, I mean, if you look, the coursing doesn't match up, there's a really interesting detail right here where the wall kind of battens a little bit, it's got like a slight cant to it, all of that's gonna remain. We're not
Right,
really
so you
proposing to take anything out.
Retain cant.
But this was the best they could find
Retain the
for.
cant.
Yeah.
What do you mean by retaining the cant?
It's
Yeah, I'll show you.
Well, it doesn't look.
there.
It sort of has a batten to it. It sort of
Okay.
See?
steps back.
Can't retain.
Yeah.
Can you go back? Can you go back?
We've got to fit it all on one page, Roger. We can't retain
So
the
the
cant.
center photo, the
for the wall.
large blocks that are on top,
Yes,
those are the add-ons?
correct.
And,
Those were added after
Okay.
probably the turn of the century.
All right, and they used to be, that's where the piping used to be.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yes,
they
you can
switched it out,
see
yeah.
the pipe rail here,
And
and then
in
they
1800, okay.
and this was very late. So within a 10-year span, this is 1896. This is and there was another photo from back from
Is that a
1907.
guardhouse in that on the left?
Yeah, we think that's where they kind of
No, nowhere to be found.
gone.
It would have been nice.
Yeah.
Oh, come-
Maybe someday we'll get a grant and put it back there.
Yeah, why not?
So these are three views of the building, all from roughly the same angle. The 1896 showing the pipe rail, coping stone, current configuration, and then what we're hoping to achieve. So the larger plan will come down the road because we have to really reinterpret the driveway. The garage is never going to be used as a garage again. We don't envision anybody ever parking a car there. We had sort of gone down the road of working with a landscape architect to do an initial design for this, and it's sort of been shelved for a bit because the building itself is not in usable condition right now. So the current thing is when we restore the building, we'll do the whole yard surrounding it.
But are you taking off the cobblestones and putting in
Right,
brick?
new stuff? Is
It
is
looks
new,
like-
new materials?
No, this is this is
Oh,
just
okay.
meant to be,
Okay.
it's again.
No
a
repaving.
No repaving.
And no
So-
sodding, and no. It's
We
just-
are actually gonna, so,
Alright,
I don't know
we
if you
can't
got,
say
when I was
anything about
talking
that.
about the regrading, but we do have to regrade the backyard because the soil is sort of ramped up against the wall. So there'll be a cut and fill. We'll be cutting along the top of the coping stone and basically feathering the grade up to the building, so it'll be a 3% slope from the top of the coping stone. There's about, it ranges from about 24 feet on the low, the narrow, to about 40 feet, depending on the distance. But there's actually, and you can kind of see it here, if you're standing at the bottom of the staircase, there's a natural slope to the grade, and we're just gonna be taking it back to that.
So,
Two elements.
sorry, the ground will be sort of just about at the level, when it comes all the way down, at the level of the,
Yeah, here's
on the
Barry,
inside, in other words.
here's Barry Road coming up, and this is sort of a driveway that serves
Right.
Governor's House and the Dutch House. This, we're envisioning that this bluestone curb will probably have to be reset into place because it's sort of jacked and popped out, but we don't, this is a big can of worms we don't want to touch right now, the driveway. It's probably like several hundred square feet, and it would all need to be taken out and redone.
So the rendering on page 11, the right side, which is your right rendering,
Yep,
the material is actually the same as the center.
correct,
It's the rubble stone.
yes.
It's nice, in other words. It's not this even brick, whatever
They
it is.
probably,
touching it.
they probably
Right.
could have taken a Photoshop
Yeah,
of this.
there's
Okay.
a,
but
yeah,
I did it, but I
well,
didn't for-
okay.
maybe you want to do that for
Okay.
LPC
Yeah.
because it
We
really,
actually showed this to LPC and they were.
oh, they don't get this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like, we're the
They know
last,
what we're gonna do.
last
We're the
traditionalists.
exact opposite.
Yeah.
Can I ask you two elements?
Maybe we'll swap, we'll go do their job and they
At this point,
The first two photos, this
I am
element
super
here
stoked about
that kind of
this.
divides the floors, what material is that? This
Oh,
banding.
Oh, and that sort of tower.
Oh,
Yeah, but you've eliminated it.
they're not touching the building though.
Right here?
Yeah, yes.
It's a brownstone course.
So it doesn't show on the rendering.
It's a, I mean, it's not going
It's-
anywhere.
They're not
So-
touching
It's a
that
digital
building.
We're not touching
mistake.
the
They're
building.
not,
Okay,
yeah,
okay, and
So-
then,
Digital mistake.
and the second thing, okay, so,
they're not touching that building.
oh, you're not touching anything?
No,
No.
no,
So
Only
the venting,
just the wall.
just the wall, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
So on the wall,
There may be some details that are lost
Because I
in
saw the
the,
differences there, I was wondering.
yeah, on the wall, you know what it's like, the difference between
Got
a
it,
cast coping stone
got it.
and a real coping stone it makes a huge difference.
Let's spend a little extra.
Yeah,
is what you're
well,
saying.
no,
Yeah.
I think let's work hard to find, and you know, around, if you're talking about adaptive reuse and cherry picking from other site areas, there's coping stones all over Governor's Island that I'm sure, you know, this is an important building that you might look to say, okay, let's take these from these ancillary buildings. You know, where we were there in the summer getting a tour where you were renting out some of those small houses. There's all those coping stones all there. And I really would encourage you, rather than just cast something that's going to make it look like you didn't care, to find some coping stones and do it properly, and it'll make the whole thing, you know, really look what you want
Authentic.
to, authentic. And you know, you've got, I mean, it's, you'd say, I know you say you're on a budget, but if that's the only budget item, you know, it's not the
Right.
world's end to find nice coping stones. And then on the fence, I mean, I think stainless steel's just not right. I mean, it should be painted like it was.
And like you show it, well,
Yeah.
I guess it's hard to show, but maybe
Well,
that, yeah. But
It's
yeah,
simple, humble, and we understand
Yeah.
about the new code,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but don't make it modern and detract from the beauty of the old.
we're definitely not trying to detract from
Well,
the
I
beauty,
mean,
but we're
that's
trying
a
to-
poor rendering then,
Well,
to
it's-
support your argument.
Yeah. Part of the landmarks process is to distinguish new elements from historic. And because we have that historic pipe rail, handrail on the north, I'll show you a picture of it. So this, we think, actually probably was extant in 1896.
Right.
Painted black.
Right.
A lot of the ironwork is painted black as well. The concern was that if we paint it black, it's going to look like the historic elements, and then it's going to look like we're trying to. So that's. I'm
Well,
just
that's
giving
our
you the
recommendation,
rationale
right,
behind-
Jason?
behind the
about the
measure.
color,
Yeah.
and the look of it also, like,
To paint it as it was originally painted black, rather than use modern stainless steel,
I think that would be more authentic. Yeah.
Okay.
and the coping stones, and the NHL, and the cant on the wall.
I got the cant.
On the
That'll
wall.
all be kept. It's not going anywhere. So.
Okay, terrific. I think we can go around
Well-
if anybody.
Yeah,
Yep.
Vera,
No, I don't have anything to add than what was already said.
G.
No, I just enjoyed the presentation.
Yeah.
Yes,
Very
thank
good.
you.
Thank
The
you.
old photos
Yeah.
are great.
Yeah, they are.
Really love those.
Okay.
Okay,
Bruce,
great.
Bruce. Yep.
Yep.
So we're going to vote in favour, noting the
Yep.
important
Mhm.
items. Great.
Yep.
Thank you very much. When are you going before LPC?
March 5th.
March 5th.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we are hoping that you guys can
Yep.
do the resolution at the larger board meeting.
Yeah, we
Oh,
will.
most certainly.
All right. Thank you.
Do you want to do this one?
What
Bruce,
is
it's
it?
in your neck of the woods.
Doesn't matter, I write these things in. Did you see that?
18th,
Marks on
I
the
know.
street?
Yeah.
Did you see?
I did.
Yeah.
And I thought the reporting was a little aggressive, because I read through what some of them said. And I mean, you understand, Fred.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know-
And one commissioner agreed with that.
Yes, he did,
100%.
100%.
And the others, and one of them's a real estate broker who's
Yeah,
done
that's right.
you know.
Yeah, good to see you.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
take care. Yeah, I mean, you know,
It's how can we be that apart?
we're that apart because they're all developers and we're not. Right? I mean,
And Bland, it's time for him.
it is time for, he has got to go. I mean, honestly, he loves it.
Commissioners are developed?
He loves everything.
Fred,
Well, yeah,
Fred
I know,
Bland.
pretty
but how many
much.
others are developed?
They're all, half
No,
of them
there's,
are,
one is a real estate agent now. She's a real estate agent.
Well, I know a
Corp-
good real estate agent.
But
well,
I'm not on the
he's few.
LPC.
Yeah, right.
Fred Bland just loves everything
we
that
got,
he gets a commission on.
18 Harrison here. You gonna?
Yes.
You know? It's just, yeah, it's, but one of them totally agreed with us.
But I think we have to speak, if there's time at the end of this.
We're going to discuss it at the end. Yeah. I mean, it's
Because
just.
we used to do things differently also. You and I were in Historic Districts Council, we used to testify, I don't think they read our,
They don't care. Anyway, it doesn't mean to say we shouldn't be doing what we're doing. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, back to your, what are you designing here?
Roof addition.
Are those
Oh, don't worry about that.
electrical outlets, is that?
Ugh, how about you need a hot
you
water heater
slept yet?
room in a building that,
Have
you
you
know,
slept
you
yet?
need to put it in the bottom and you haven't figured it out yet.
Look a little different
I
today.
thought you put all the
Not
utilities
if
on the
it's a
roof anymore.
landmark building and it's a
Is it a
visibility
boy
issue.
and a girl? Two boys.
No, we can't have visibility. All right,
Okay,
let's do
18 Harrison.
28 pages in 14 page time.
77 White Street is postponed.
One?
So
Yeah.
after
Right.
this, it's
No,
5
they
Beekman
got
Street.
staff
So-
level
and
approval.
Yeah,
This is
Beekman,
just
that's it.
about
cobblestones and
Well,
historic.
we're not
It's
gonna
about
do
the roof
cobblestone.
addition, right? No, interior renovations is
Yeah.
irrelevant.
We did
Good, okay.
Okay, so I'm Stefano Maurizi, I'm the architect for the renovations. So this is 18 Harrison Street, it's a building between Greenwich Street and Hudson Street. And it used to be an old cheese factory. And it's always been used as a warehouse until 1980s when it was made into offices. And,
Oh.
used as-
Is this where a place called Hands, it was a legitimate massage place used to be?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. It's been empty for a long time,
It was,
since
it
it was
was
condemned.
legitimate, but it was illegal, because they never had the.
But the whole building was condemned. Bob.
Yeah, exactly.
But not just
When my
because of
client
that.
bought it, it was, everything
This one
was
alone.
illegal,
That was a yes.
because they practically
You're
did
yes.
the,
Your, everyone's
Six
yes.
You got
they
it?
did the permits, but then, yeah, the use was an issue.
I just-
Because they never closed the permits,
Okay.
so it was never legalized.
Seven.
Okay.
Unfortunately, they redid the old interiors and,
Yeah.
so here in the in page 3, we're showing our addition, which is a 1-floor addition on the roof with a bulkhead. And we're doing, you'll see it in the axonometric view after this, we're doing also an addition in the backyard. And we're showing here the existing additions on the roofs around in the same block. On page 4,
A moment, please, while we're here.
Yep.
So, even though you're showing the additions on the same block and the whole square block, it is axonometric. So am I correct in assuming that the only addition that's higher is the one to the east, immediate east on Harrison, and
Actually-
everything else is lower?
actually, we had a,
Which is proposed.
No, it's
the-
not proposed, it's there.
Yeah,
No,
I
it's
see.
a-
Yeah, right.
Actually, this is visible from here.
But I'm not asking about, I'm asking about absolute height. Is this the
Oh.
only thing that's higher than that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because-
of all of
because
these
that's a very-
rooftop
yeah.
additions?
And that's yours, that's
Well,
yours.
and this is the
It's
same
not
height.
mine, I'm over here.
This is the
No,
same.
no, that's
Yours
what
being
your,
the applicant.
the applicant's building, this is the applicant's building.
He's
Right.
No,
gray one.
proposed
The gray one.
addition,
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Oh,
This
it's
is
the little
applicant.
slither.
It's
Right,
the
right.
highest of the whole square
Oh,
block.
okay.
That's what
Okay.
I'm saying.
Because of your bulkhead.
It's the same
Okay.
height, and it's the same
As one
height
building.
as the
All
ones
right,
on the floor.
yeah, okay.
Okay, let's keep going.
All right, keep
That-
going.
That's
yeah,
great.
And also,
It's very visible.
this is the building where we're restoring the facades in the front and the back.
Oh, it's a narrow building.
We are, all the windows are unfortunately from the 1980s.
Yeah,
The original windows were double hung, so we were proposing double hung windows.
You have text ID for it?
Yeah, it was
It's in the
page,
front.
2.
Oh, I missed it, sorry.
102,
One?
2 over
Oh, I got it.
2,
That's
what's
fine.
what double hung?
Sorry, I got it.
Yeah.
Like this?
I got it.
Exactly.
2 over 2?
Exactly, yep.
2 over 2.
Yep. So we were proposing 2 over 2. And the notable, there's some cast iron decorations in the facade that we're restoring. And we're just removing the paint and repainting. And we're restoring all the limestone bands and the brick.
Just to say, oh, the limestone bands on the first floor, on the,
Yeah,
go over the next
and we
page.
also have headers and sills
This stuff.
yeah.
in limestone that have been restored.
Yep.
The storefront will remain the same, we'll repaint it, we're not doing any change to the storefront. This is the view on page 7, this is
Yeah.
the view of the mock-up.
And is the mock-up in place now? It's built?
It's built, yeah, it's there, yeah. It's there now.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's high. How high is that?
It's, you can see it here on page 9.
I mean, how many feet tall is it?
It's,
The bottom
it's
is
12
10.
feet plus the,
12
plus
plus
the,
8, 20
This
feet.
is the proposed
No.
addition, right?
Oh, plus the bulkhead,
Plus
yeah.
Yeah.
Part here,
Well, it's 10 plus
Right.
8.3.
it was above,
Oh, no,
Why
it's
do you
12 plus 10. It's 22.
I'm curious,
The bulkhead.
you have an elevator in the building, why do you need, that additional bulkhead? There is an elevator in the building.
yeah, well, the elevator goes to the last floor, and then that's the stairs that just goes.
Oh,
goes
so
up to
you
the
want an
roof.
elevator that goes right to the rooftop extension?
To this, it goes to this, yeah.
Have you
Okay,
thought of
to
putting the underrun in the basement rather than on the top of the...
No, well, that's just a bulkhead for the stairs, because there's interior stairs that go all the way to the roof. That's the
He's gotta bring up.
bulkhead, this is a stair
He's gotta bring a
bulkhead.
stair to the roof.
But it doesn't
bring
need to be
this
this big.
No, it could be like your.
Right,
your
little cube.
traditional
Right,
Yeah,
rectangle.
why
Yeah,
is
yeah,
it...
absolutely.
So it can be a little cube.
Yeah, yeah.
Or a little
Or-
rectangle, like.
Yeah,
Or,
right,
you know,
right.
yeah.
The minimum,
It could be a
minimum
size.
bulkhead,
Okay,
stair
right,
bulkhead size.
Okay,
It's looking
Right,
a lot,
so-
it's looking a lot like
Yeah.
another floor
Yes,
in that view.
right.
So-
Well,
So
two
minimum...
We had
No,
we had
it's
done it like
26
that.
where'd you get 26 feet?
22, it's
He said
12 plus
26.
10.
Right, so
What
where's
about this?
26?
Wait, it's more than 10.
What about the bulkhead part?
12
How many feet is it
plus
from the
9 foot
bottom
10.
of, from
From
the
the
top
roof?
of the existing roof
So you have
to the
12,
top of your bulkhead?
12,
Well,
You
we're-
must know the
1
figure.
feet 10.
No, the thing is that the roof, we're making it lower. The
Okay.
existing roof is very
Well,
slanted.
Yeah,
So you see it here, look, right here, in this section. The existing roof is here, so it's very
Right,
slanted.
right, okay,
Lowering,
but-
so this will be. a
But
little
what's,
lower.
Like
what
20
is
So
the...
this is.
22 feet.
20, yeah.
61 to 79,
22.
okay.
No, more.
This is this,
kind of.
because,
61 to
you know, if you have to, up to the
Yeah.
floor is 79
10.
feet 7. So it's
even
10
more.
feet, it's approximately 10 feet
Mm.
here. And plus here, it's 8 feet, so it's 18.
It doesn't include
Because
the
here it's-
steel.
No.
But then,
right?
we're lowering,
This says 12 and 9 foot 10.
but we're removing.
I know, okay, you're sinking it into the
right,
roof,
right,
but the
right.
But
actual...
you're not
removing like
actually,
3 feet.
you're not actually
You're
sinking it classically to
No.
lower, it's just, it's
If
a
you're
it's a
leveling the
diagonal
roof,
roof,
yeah,
which I'm
right.
well aware of, I have it in my
Right,
loft,
right,
a half a block away,
Right.
but you're leveling.
But the
That's
actual
all.
addition is
Okay,
12
yeah,
feet
yeah,
plus
yeah.
9 foot 10,
Okay,
22 feet.
okay, thank you, so
Yep.
go ahead. And I don't mean to be antagonistic, but this is as historic a block
Yeah.
in the Tribeca West Historic District as you can get, and unfortunately, I know the building very, very well. I say unfortunately, I mean for you.
Let's talk about other,
Right.
tell
Okay,
us,
keep going.
show us other angles of the visibility
Yeah,
and
with
the
your
materials.
visibility study, yeah.
The materials and, I mean, it looks like it takes us all.
So
the way.
essentially, just so everyone knows, this view is essentially the view from the historic
Yep,
federal
there you
houses.
go. Oh,
Yeah,
looking
yeah,
at-
yeah, yeah.
very-
So-
true.
So you've,
From
the only
Greenwich.
visibility study is at
Is
page
there.
7.
Well, that's
Right.
really the only visibility, right?
From the, yeah.
From
that's
the
the
west
only-
on
So it's visible
comparison.
from the west, it's visible from...
27.
This is all
It's
west.
only,
I think
It's
just
all
the
west.
it's
west.
only
right.
visible from, yeah.
Right,
There
I
is
guess.
no head-on view.
Right.
that
Look
they
at
show.
page
Right.
27.
Is it invisible from front on, when you look, when
Yeah,
you
yeah, I
cross
got
the
it. I'm
road?
on it. I see it.
No, you can, no. because
Where,
it's-
where's the front on
You can-
visibility?
Looks like it would be hard to see.
We don't
from
have
the
it.
front.
But it is visible,
It's, no, it's not visible. From front, it's not visible.
not visible
Because
from
it's,
the street.
Element in the back.
Okay,
Because
but,
it's 15 feet
right,
after.
setback.
Yeah, setback.
Okay, but it's highly visible from the west.
You can see it in the last, in the next to last page. You can see the rendering.
Oh, wow, yeah, look at that. Yeah, just look
Considering
at
what's
27.
next- What's next door to it.
It's the steel, right? Corton steel?
Corten steel, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's the problem. I mean, you don't need the bulkhead to be that large, do you?
That's right,
No, we
Roger,
could-
he doesn't, he should.
I mean, we could,
You could make it a
But what about
minimum
mechanical-
we
stair
could,
bulkhead.
actually, we we could eliminate it.
All right, let's get rid of that. I mean, that would help a
Where are
lot,
you gonna
right?
put your mechanical equipment? And how,
Because
is
it's
that gonna
really,
be visible?
you know, it's not, it would, I think it would help a lot.
It certainly would. It would. You get rid of 10 feet there.
Right.
Bruce
Yeah,
got
yeah,
that?
absolutely, yeah.
The applicant agreed to
agrees.
remove stair bulkhead entirely.
Well, that's not really fair, right? Because we know he has to bring a stair to the roof.
No, but he just said he can.
No, but I
eliminate it.
suggested it.
Unless
so-
he does, he has a special potion that doesn't allow
We have a little-
buildings,
No,
these buildings
no,
that
the
have
thing
the
is-
stairs to go to the roof.
Listen,
No, the thing-
Jason, he doesn't need it above.
No,
Every
the thing-
stair has to go
No,
to the
no,
roof
the-
of a building.
No, the thing
One
is, it's
stair.
a two-family, so it doesn't have to.
I don't agree with that. but-
Okay.
Okay.
No, it's
I feel bad if we're gonna say that, you know, he's gonna promise something that he like can't deliver on, but sure,
No,
eliminate
no,
it completely.
because it's not gonna be a multifamily, because we couldn't do it, because we would have needed two egresses, so it was
Okay.
impossible. So we're doing a two-family.
Right,
The
3
retail-
or under is
And the
considered
retail-
is completely different law.
Yeah, so it's a completely different thing, we don't need a.
So you're doing a retail and 2-family.
And
That's
two-family,
that's the
it.
program.
Yeah, that's
What
it.
about the mechanical equipment?
It could go on the roof. if
Well,
we
you have to
remove
tell
it.
us where it's going to go, and if it's gonna be visible or not, right?
No, it's not gonna be, it's gonna be behind the,
Well,
because right now, it's on the bulkhead, right? So
Here.
what we could do, we could remove it and put it in the back, if the
back of
bulkhead is
the,
not.
get rid of the bulkhead and put the AC
if
units
we
at
don't
the
want it,
back,
yeah,
non-visible.
exactly.
Well,
we don't want it.
still visible from the
Yeah, we
side.
don't-
Yeah, we
know.
would have
Yeah.
to, you'd have to say that it wouldn't be visible,
Yeah.
because it would be a shame
You
to.
get that?
I understand, right,
Yeah,
right.
it's be bad for all of us, right? If you say
Right,
it's
right.
not visible and then it's visible,
But it would be, yeah. I
put it wherever
understand.
you want, but I'm just
Right,
saying we would prefer to be invisible if you can.
And what about
It's
moving the
possible
whole,
because it-
the whole roof addition to the back wall?
Yeah.
So you're setting
Yeah,
it back.
and there would be less
That
of an
is not
issue.
allowed, because we need a backyard,
You need to rear yard.
a rear yard. distance.
However,
You need a rear yard setback?
Well, you need
Yeah.
a rear yard. Every bit,
Yeah.
you know, you can't put
That's
a window
right, it's
within
30 feet.
20 feet
Yeah.
or.
20
Right.
feet? And is that what it is? Is it the
30
20
feet
feet?
is
That's a
exactly
20
what it
feet
is.
setback?
however, even then, Roger, the visibility from the
Mm-hmm. West.
west to the east would be the same, and that's the only visibility. Now, what did we just agree to?
The bulkhead will be the top bulkhead will be removed
But I know
entirely.
that, but there was something
And
else.
the mechanical units will
Ah.
be placed at the
So they're
back
not
of the
visible from
building,
the street.
In the rear.
so they're not, at the rear of the roof addition, so they're not visible from the street.
Mechanical,
Placed at the rear of the roof addition, so they are not visible from the street.
do you have
What do you need?
your phone?
I noticed you might be blocking,
Bruce.
it's not, I mean, are you blocking windows, just to know, on this building to the east of you?
To the, yeah, one window,
Okay,
yeah.
all right, so.
That's all.
Yeah.
So we're still seeing this part. We
Yeah.
take off the
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
chimney thing there and,
But at some level,
yeah.
you,
From the corner, yeah, it's visible from the corner. Once you then move to Harrison, east to Harrison Street, then you don't see it anymore.
yeah. And but now at the new height, it's adjoining the roof line of the adjoining building.
Right.
So, I mean,
It's-
you know.
yeah.
I mean, so there's some logic there.
Yes, I noticed that.
Okay, so Jeff,
Well, I'm still bothered by, you know, that it is visible.
sorry, we haven't talked
I
about
don't know the
materials.
solution.
Is this stucco?
No, it's
Corten
Corten
steel
steel.
for
It's Corten
why?
steel.
Oh, wow.
I have to ask you. No offense, but why Corten steel? It's
Just-
like 1965,
Yeah,
building
yeah,
the New Jersey
sure.
Turnpike. Why do they want Corten
Just to
steel?
blend it with the brick, it was the easiest way to blend it.
It
with the-
rusts as.
No, yeah, but then it stays. It stays
Yeah,
rusted.
after it rusts, it stays.
Yeah.
That was what Corten steel was
Right,
all
right.
about,
Yeah,
David
yeah.
Smith and everything.
That's true.
I don't understand why.
All right, Jeff, you don't like the roof addition, even with the removal of the second
Well,
bulkhead.
that's certainly better, but I
You still
mean,
don't.
it's still very visible
Vera,
on a good view corridor.
I'm okay with it as long as the bulkhead is removed.
G, Mark,
I think it's too visible, but we should mention, what, this building has a name, Bruce, next to it, with the, spire?
To the east.
On the corner?
Yeah, is that?
Well,
a-
that's
What's the name of that building?
the old mercantile building. It's
So-
like, that's an individual landmark within
Right.
the landmark district.
So I mentioned that the view corridor, to the historical mercantile building is obscured, slightly obscured by this.
That's a
And
bit
if
of
you
a,
take
that's
the
a bit of a
bulkhead down, it won't
stretch.
be,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
because
not, it's
the
looking
same
over to
level
that-
as the
that-
other buildings.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're standing and you look up at it and then you see this glass and you're up there and you're like, ugh, right next to that.
This
beautiful-
glass, no, you're looking at the wrong, it's the bolt, it's the one with the,
I know, but I think he's got something there. I mean,
Right
you
here,
do-
right?
Well,
Yeah.
that's what he,
no, it's the next building over.
No, here.
Oh, here? Oh,
Yeah,
Never mind.
but I will agree with Mark on one thing, that,
Where's the bill?
Sorry.
I will agree with Mark on
It
one.
blended in.
What was it? Anyway, it is weird,
Yeah.
if you look at the entire block, to see a big swath
Wow.
of Corten steel instead of all this masonry and stone. Corten steel, there's
Yeah, brick.
no,
so we could,
No
you
logic.
consider brick, right? It'd
or
be
even
cheaper for you.
stucco.
Well, brick,
Well, let's, yeah.
brick. If we,
I
while
agree.
we've
I
got
agree
a,
about the
brick would
Break
be
it
fine.
up. Break it up.
material.
Build a wall.
Yeah, yeah, it's not,
Did you bring samples, materials, samples?
Well,
Yeah, did you
rusted
bring
steel.
Yeah, well, no, but that doesn't make him exempt from bringing it,
Yeah.
because not everybody knows what Corten steel is.
I don't,
Oh, it looks like rusted steel
but it
plate.
doesn't sound nice.
Oh.
Corten
So
In the
steel
West Village, there's a
had
couple
its
places.
moment,
Yeah.
it was a modernist
But you'd
material,
be comfortable in
and it
using
rusts,
Yeah,
and the
there's no
rust
problem with
brick
that
in
occurs on the
kind.
surface was
Brick in
desirable.
exactly.
Oh,
Okay,
that,
brick
I
in-
gotcha.
What?
Brick in kind for the bulkhead,
Thank you,
for the
For the
penthouse.
addition.
that would be great.
Jason?
I'm
Okay, I'm sorry, go
no,
ahead.
I'm not. I'm where Jeff is on the spectrum of it just being too visible, and I agree with Bruce that like this looks like the quintessential like street wall for a Tribeca street, and it would be. It's tough to
But let's
give up
just bear
seeing
in
anything.
mind with the reality of what we're dealing with these days.
Sure.
I mean, some very helpful compromise might be better than an alternative.
Okay, but yes, and I think I can get behind it if the room is behind it. But I think it's worth noting that it does have that kind of very quintessential street wall there.
But, I mean, I think a roof addition at this juncture, it's hard to totally
Say
reject.
no to, right?
Right.
It's not possible, right?
Right. So, I mean, I think that the accommodation of the applicant,
Yeah, we chipped away quite a bit of this. thing.
well, was helpful.
Yes.
Oh,
Right.
absolutely.
Yes.
So, this is what I have to say. By the way, I'm on the spectrum, period, in general. But, as you can imagine. So, I'm inclined to approve the rooftop extension. Oh, did we do the yard, the rear yard?
Well, it's not visible.
It's not
It's
visible.
absolutely not visible.
No,
But
how can it
remember,
be?
that was one of the struggles that we had with the new rules.
Well, are you doing
Well,
some
we
major
wanted
intervention?
to-
No,
on
he's
your-
adding a-
We're adding, in the commercial space.
You're going the
Right,
full
we're
out.
lot.
going for-
Yeah.
And they agreed
Like the
with
one next
us that
No,
that would be
well,
something
but
that.
they've not done.
But there's not a special element back. Is there a special element back there, like a beautiful
No.
Is
stylized?
there, is there a picture of it
Yeah,
somewhere
you can
in
see
here?
it built
There's
out.
a-
It's
what
the
page is it?
classic.
Well,
It's the
I
classic.
didn't
We
realize
did it
that.
all the
And
time.
if it's on
There's
the,
back.
So where's the build
I
out?
see.
Well, no, do a side at the elevation. Do an elevation side.
Where is it?
Keep going. He's got one drawing in there. It's just a typical shed, right?
Yep.
I
Yeah,
still
Just
don't
keep
see
going.
it.
Where is it? Where is it?
He's got a whole skylight.
He's got his. Yeah, you know, it's the Tribeca shed. Keep going.
Okay.
Right, there you go. That's
Okay,
right. I mean, come on.
Yep.
So I was just asking.
Yeah, they-
So,
We're trying to get through the agenda.
but
Bill, be out.
but I am concerned. So we're agreeing there will be no upper staircase,
Right.
bulkhead.
No second level bulkhead.
No cornice.
The material, the mechanics will be pushed back to the northern edge.
No, because he can't.
I
Oh,
thought
the
you just-
mechanicals.
yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
mechanicals
And-
To the back.
And will replace the corten.
with
the only
with
thing-
matching brick in kind.
Except that landmarks will say they don't want matching material. I don't think they'll want corten, but they won't want matching
Well,
material.
we,
I
it's what
said
we
that.
want, which is a
Yeah.
very good. So, and I agree with that, and we appreciate your accommodation
We do.
to work with us, and we like the work you're doing on the front of the restoration. That's
And I
really
hope that you, and I'm sure you do, this is, we struggle to get a Tribeca West Historic District, and if any block defines it,
it's
it's
this one.
block.
Yeah, you've
So
got
I
a beautiful
hope you-
building.
So,
You know
Yeah.
that, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So when are you going before LPC? March 5th. Okay. So in favour of that resolution as
Will
amended?
we add to what just Bruce just said about the historic of the
Yeah,
street?
of course.
and
Of course I would.
And the accommodation of the applicant?
Well,
Yeah,
I'm gonna,
7.
that we appreciate the
Yeah.
accommodation.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very, very
And
much.
whoever bought it is here. Well, oh, no? Okay, I was gonna say, welcome to the neighborhood. It's a great building, great block.
Okay, 5 Beekman Street.
Who's doing that?
We don't need all of them, just maybe.
No, look,
This is
I-
what
I'm
we're up
with you.
against, huh?
This is what we're up against.
Yeah.
Well, it makes me want to do some more visible additions.
Well,
And everyone's
Right.
having a party, and
Well,
Right, exactly.
well, okay, but look, we gotta play in the market we're in. Anyway, hello.
Good evening, how are you?
Oh, well. Hi.
He's just getting the presentation
Oh,
up and
good
we're
report.
handing them out.
Oh, the leaking roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a tour of this before the restoration started, and then we were invited to the opening, and we love what you've done.
Thank you.
But that atrium is known for its leaks.
It's always been a challenge, and you know what we discovered, the other thing is that when you have balloons filled with helium and they float to the top, they last there for 3 or 4 weeks. They just don't come down. And there's no way to get them back.
So no helium balloon parties for you.
20 years ago, an architect named John Petrarca, who was the chair of the Landmarks Committee then, or 25 years ago, said, I want to show you something. And we went to an abandoned building and he opened a door.
Yeah.
And I looked up and saw this, and I have never seen anything like it before or since. I mean, it was just an amazing, abandoned, breathtaking space.
I had the same reaction the first
Like
day I
that
walked
Brill,
in.
the Brill building in Los Angeles.
Exactly, that's what I thought of.
Yeah.
I
Anyway,
worked with John, I've worked on 6 different projects on this building over 20 years. First one was with John Petrarca.
oh
Really?
wow.
And that was for that begins with a P.
It was before that, actually, I
Wow.
think. I think it was before that. I think
That's
that was the
amazing.
second one.
Wow.
Anyhow,
That's so cool.
I'm Ward Dennis with Higgins Quays, Barth and Partners, preservation consultant. Randy Gerner with GKV Architects. Risa Schoenfeld, also with GKV, is here, and Scott Case from the hotel. So obviously you know the building well, Temple Court building, now the Beekman Hotel. The original part of the building was constructed in 1881 by Silliman and Farnsworth as architects. There's an addition and extension that was built in 1889 by Silliman alone was the architect. Most famously, I think, is the atrium, which is now fully restored, operating hotel. It is an absolutely fantastic space. And I think the whole project, Randy and I worked on the rehab and restoration of this building. I think we're all, incredibly proud of how it turned out. What we are here
Before you go
for-
on, I just wanted to share one really interesting fact, because this was developed by a developer named Eugene Kelly, and at that time, almost all of the professionals had their offices and shop fronts, and what happened is Lower Manhattan was running out of shop fronts, so he thought, why don't I bring a sidewalk into the interior of the building and create all of these shop fronts, and that's exactly what that was. So people would actually come here to do business with your lawyer or your surveyor or your architect, and they would have these interior shop fronts, which of course converted very, very nicely into hotel rooms. Yeah, so.
And we're showing what we're here for tonight are proposal for canopies at the roof. But we're showing the atrium because the atrium actually plays into some of the visibility that you see here. There's equipment up on the roof that serves the atrium. There's actually a very elaborate light safety system associated with the atrium. And part of that is up on the roof, and that is part of the reason why canopies that we're proposing are visible. At the top is an existing aerial view and an existing plan. The two turrets both each have hotel rooms / event spaces in them. And at the back side over here is the elevator bank. And in order to get to the turrets, you walk out across the roof. The roofs are used also for event space. And what the hotel is experiencing is weather. So a big part of this proposal is providing weather protection over these roofs to allow them to be more functional year-round. They are not enclosed spaces; these are just canopies with a glass roof, which, as you'll see, and you can see here that we have 3 of them proposed. One on the east elevation, which is Nassau Street; one on the north, which is Beekman; and one on the west, which is Theater Alley. In this presentation, we're just going to show you the details for the east, but the details are the same for the north and the west, and all those details are back in the appendix, but we didn't want to spend time going through the same thing 3 times over. We have looked at precedents for how rooftops were used historically, and we are trying to work our proposal into this language and into these precedents. You see various buildings of this era, club buildings, theater buildings, hotel building, all of which had different rooftop uses, different rooftop pergolas, even sort of greenhouse enclosures and the like. So these served as inspiration and precedents as we're developing the design for the project.
And you'll notice that most of the metal is all expressed as very delicate tracery. And again, that is an important consideration for us.
These are just views on the roof. You can see terraces on the roof. You can see obviously the atrium skylight here in this photo. And you also see these steps here. And what these steps are coming up above is all the equipment that serves the smoke purge units in the atrium. So when you come out of the elevator, you're at a lower level. You go up a few steps at the atrium level into the turrets, and the equipment that serves the smoke purge is all underneath this terrace. And obviously the canopies need to cover the high spot and the low spot. This is a view on the north roof, view on the east roof, looking both directions. This is down the stairs to the elevator entry. So this is existing proposed overall elevations. Again, we're just showing you the east, but all 3 elevations are in the package if you have questions on them. There's a mansard roof on the east side with the atrium beyond and the turret, and then here is our proposed canopy coming up over.
You'll notice also that the spring point for the canopy is the adjacent cornice lines for the turrets.
Before, after.
No.
And is this visible? I mean, it's a narrow street.
Yes,
Exactly.
we'll get to the visibility.
Okay.
There is a mock-up constructed. Next page is just a detailed view of that same elevation.
So it's a decorative railing
The
for.
decorative railing exists.
Oh, that exists. So it's
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 uprights with.
Yep.
And what's above that?
There's a truss that spans from the uprights that are on the facade to the uprights that are behind.
If you go 2 pages forward, I think it will make more sense.
So one more. This is a good drawing to refer to.
Oh, I see.
On the bottom right here, you can see that there is a truss with a slanted roof.
Yeah.
Obviously to shed water off, and there's a drain at the front, so each one of those posts has a drain connected to it, a downspout connected to it.
Okay.
The trusses have these circles for support, the tracery that Randy mentioned,
And it's
and
reminiscent
then a glass
of the,
roof on top.
and it's reminiscent of the tracery that is on the parapet balls that you'd seen before.
So it's 9 foot at the front, and what's at the back of the?
It's 9 feet to the underside of the truss, and the front of the truss is about 1 foot tall, and the back of the truss is 3 feet tall.
Oh,
So
The back,
This is the portion that's adjacent to the skylight, which is 3 feet, and that's about.
so it's narrow at the front and so you're draining towards the front of the building.
Right, and then we have a scupper
Oh,
system.
so it's 9 plus 1, so it's 10
to
at the
very-
front and 13 at the back.
That's correct.
That's the back, 13.
And we have higher resolution details coming up, so these are a bit small, but these are just showing the overall. The height clearance is also to clear the height of the door on the turrets, so that 9 feet gives us that clearance. And you can see in this cross-section below the mechanical equipment that we were discussing that feeds into the atrium. So all this equipment down here, that is the raised part of the terrace, is part of the atrium life safety system. This is a view on the next page of existing details of the terrace. The cast iron railing, very decorative cast iron railing, as you see at the front, and then a supplemental safety railing that comes up to the proper height. And then detail photos on the next page, where we're at the atrium side. There is a glass safety railing so that people can't walk into the atrium itself or onto the atrium itself.
And the metal, you'll notice the metalwork color at this point, because I think that's important, that's a reference for us as we begin to color the metal faces. We're borrowing those colors.
Yeah.
You were having the discussion on Governor's Island about
Yeah.
stainless versus
Yeah.
black. The trusses that we're showing are painted black. So next page gets into the more high-level details of this, just showing how it's constructed. You can see on the left side here, this tube with that glass railing will then be put up on top of the tube, and the rear post comes up off of that. And at the front, you can see the downspout coming in under to drain out of the building.
Yep.
What page are you on?
We're on page 13.
I'm waiting for 16.
Okay, keep going.
Which one is 16? Let's see.
All right, keep going. Bruce always likes to get to
More
the.
details on 14.
Yeah.
These get very technical, but we're happy to walk
These are
through them.
built up sections so that they have the character of some of the metalwork that might
Yeah.
have been
Yeah,
at the time.
got it. Okay.
15 is
Yeah.
more details, including of the glazing that is on the top. And then 16, yes, shows existing and proposed
So-
in an aerial view.
Right, so I'm a little confused, because so far, I have questions. It's not inalterable what you proposed, I thought, but where is the pyramidal
Orange.
center section? On the left, where is this on the?
Well, it's taken
It's
out.
hard to see because it's dark. That Bruce
Oh,
might
it's
need some-
there.
Yeah,
I just scared me. I thought you were-
No, they're not removing the
Yeah,
atrium.
it's too leaky, we're taking it down.
Actually,
Okay.
that has been the inspiration again for the color of the canopy.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So, okay, we get it. And then the visibility
And the next
studies.
page is visibility studies. Now,
Well,
we
okay.
constructed a mock-up, we looked at it, and in particular, you'll see in a couple pages, we looked at it from directly across the street on Nassau, and you could see about a foot of it. So what we've done in the past day or so is modify that with some tape, and we pushed it back a little bit. This view here from Beekman Street, you will still see some of the canopy from the street.
So
It's
from
now pushed back a little bit.
directly on the street.
But from directly across the street, we've modified it so that you will not see it.
Right.
So this is the only view of it?
No.
Oh, show us the other view of it.
Yeah. So, sorry, this is from,
That's on Beekman.
sort of in front of the Geary building
Right.
on Beekman, looking west, southwest, southwest. This is from, essentially from City Hall Park, looking southeast. You can see a little bit of the mock-up, and here too, we pushed it back now 18 inches, so this visibility that you're seeing here is now reduced slightly, but there will still be visibility.
Did you do that at the suggestion suggestion of LPC staff, or did you do it of your own volition? I'm just curious.
We did it,
Where LPC
both
is at.
actually. I mean, we looked at it, saw it, realized that it was not good, and then we had some conversations with LPC staff. They
But we'd be
agreed.
pleased to keep it.
Can you do it some more?
No, no,
So
yeah,
that it's
yeah.
just totally not visible?
I mean, why does it have to come,
Well, I mean,
why
we
does
really
it have to
can't.
come right up to the front?
Well, so now we have pushed it back.
Well, how far back is it?
We pushed it
Come
back
back
so
about
that
18
you
inches.
shouldn't see it from the
No, but
street.
how many feet?
18 inches
18
back.
inches.
Well, 18 inches, but I mean,
But-
how far would you have to go back so it's invisible?
Actually-
Probably about 10 feet.
If you see this, I'll share this,
Wish
but
we had a plan.
right,
There's enough for everyone.
oh, there is, okay, so there are, so let me pass
All right,
these around. So what we did is we put some yellow tape on the existing mock-up now.
happens if you lowered it? What's the height of it?
Oh, it's only
9
9
feet to
feet,
the underside.
Well, 9 plus 1.
no, but to the underside, so we couldn't lower
10
it.
feet to the front edge.
Well, it is slanted back. It gets taller, further back you go.
So once we put the tape
Yeah,
18 inches
I see
back,
it.
and it's best to see right here, because here's the yellow mock-up, or the orange mock-up, and you can see if we moved it 18 inches back, that would be the yellow line that you would see.
Which yellow one? Oh, the lower one.
Right.
But I mean, if you went 24 inches, wouldn't it just disappear?
Yeah, it would.
Well, I mean, 24 inches, 2 feet. I mean,
It's the usability essentially of the terrace.
But how many?
but I mean, the terrace is pretty deep.
The terrace is pretty deep, it's 20 feet deep. the
20 feet
terrace.
deep, so you lose 2, so you got an 18-foot terrace.
I should share some of the challenges with you of doing that, the structural.
Not too many challenges, please.
Well, the biggest challenge, quite frankly, we have is bringing the structure down. The structure is directly underneath this. If we were to move this back, we have to bring it down and then erect some sort of structure that will then carry us back to the top of the spandrel beam, which is right under there.
Right, but I mean, you know, this is the 21st century.
But the biggest challenge, though, is holding this thing down as much as holding it up because of the winds that we see here.
But I mean,
So
you know, we've seen with Howard Hughes, you know, if you want to do it, you can do it. You know, you could have a sort of, you know, retractable awning set up.
Sound that you can't
Yeah,
hear.
yeah.
They
I mean,
actually have made it so
unbelievable.
you can't hear sound.
I'm not disagreeing.
It's true. True. All right, it's
It-
too,
It,
So your feeling is that it should be set back.
so we don't, so it's not visible.
Is it set back so that we don't see it?
Yeah, and then you're free to do whatever you want. And it's
7
not an
people.
engineering rocket science to put a strut in a wall,
Buy
come back
drinks
2 feet to
At
hold up
$50
a.
a drink, so that's what you're losing.
Challenging.
right.
The permits are challenging because of the ductwork we have.
No, I understand,
It'll be a
but
nice
you know,
place.
$1,000.
And more leaks.
I mean,
We're only talking about the two.
2 feet,
The
yeah.
east and the north, too, right?
Well, I don't know. We're
haven't
just talking about the
gotten to,
east. We're just
we
talking.
haven't gotten
Sorry,
to
we,
The east and the north both have
the same
visibility.
issue. So
Right,
east and north.
so
So this is for, so
the other
one's
one-
okay.
You
so-
want, the south one is fine, right?
Which one?
The one on the west
The
side.
north.
And that's, you can't even see
This one
that.
is, you know.
The west side, there
see
is no
anything.
visibility because that's Theater Alley and that's that very narrow street.
And there's visibility looking south on the north facade. Do I have my directions wrong?
Not talking
The
on
Dunkin'
Beekman Street.
Donuts, the Dunkin' Donuts
on the
look.
east.
I'm sorry,
Southwest.
yeah.
You're looking at this,
It's
sorry,
south. It's the south, that's
are you
right.
looking at this one?
Right.
This is looking sort of
The south.
east, southeast, or west,
Yeah,
And
south.
the left image, the left image is looking.
Yeah.
These are all the same images.
Okay.
This is existing, this is the mock-up, this is a rendering.
Okay, right.
So I mean, I mean, we applaud what you're doing, and we'd love to be invited up there one of these days. But I mean, to set back 10%.
Scott, did you hear that? They'd
Yeah.
love to be.
Keith was very gracious when he opened the restaurant. He invited us all over. It was very nice. But I mean, am I speaking the spirit of the committee here?
Try and make it not visible, if it's possible.
Yes,
Please
please.
also do that.
I'm confused about why and LBC is being so, I don't know how to put it, niggling on this facade, and yet this is a different facade.
No, they're going to apply to both.
It's much
Isn't
more,
that the idea?
much more visible.
Sorry, show me.
Yeah, he's talking about the look down
I
Beekman
mean,
versus
here,
the look
you know, you've
across.
made,
This is
you
the
made
same,
an
this is
adjustment.
the same facade.
This is this.
This is that.
Yeah, this is the
This is a
updated
different view
one.
of it.
This is the
So now
updated.
this will no longer
Well, no, they're
look
trying to get
like
away with
this.
the yellow. I mean, instead they
Will no
understand the
longer
red's
look like
too
this.
much, and they want to
When
work
you're
with the yellow.
standing directly across the street,
Yeah.
you will no longer see anything.
And if you're standing here,
You will still
Well,
see some.
Yeah.
just about
so
the same
it-
as this,
A little bit less, you'll see,
So yeah, so we'd love for you to, and the materials are fine. Is the glass, is that clear glass for the?
It's actually polycarbonate that we're
Oh,
and did you choose black because LPC wanted a strong difference
all right.
from the existing
Actually, we
material?
tried to match the glass because as you look into the atrium is dark from the outside.
Uh-huh.
And so when we use a darker glass, what happens is that'll match then the color of the atrium glass as it's perceived.
However, the framework is black.
And our
Yeah.
framework would be black.
Why? That's
Why-
what I'm asking.
Why would it be black?
If you're viewing this and you have a gray a mansard, you don't want to match it. Is that at the framework?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes,
Yeah, all right.
exactly.
So I think
I mean,
we're.
that's been something we've been debating, quite frankly, but I felt it was more important that we select the materials of the building that are similar in nature, such as the framework of the, and also we would start to blend with the charcoal slate.
Okay. Let me clarify. You didn't do a charcoal color to blend with the charcoal slate. You chose black instead.
We chose a darker charcoal. It's really not black, because black would be a little too simple.
So it's not as dark as this would suggest.
That's right.
Okay.
So I think to sum up, we think you've done a very nice job, and we love what you've done on the west facade. And we merely ask you on the east and north to work to set it back so it's not visible. Otherwise, we commend the application.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
When are you presenting to LPC?
12th of March.
12th of March. Okay.
Yeah.
So are they agreeing to set it back, or they're gonna agree to look to see if they can set it back?
No, I think we're gonna set it, we were setting it back.
So you agreed to
begin
do
with.
Well,
to
we
20
have set
To
it back.
visible, to not visible.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good, it's better that
Already
that's in
have
the
not-
resolution then.
We need to,
Well,
we need
it
to talk to
depends
the
where,
owner to
you know, if
decide
you're
if.
4 blocks away,
Yeah.
you'll see it.
No, we understand
But
from the
from the
visibility,
street,
yeah,
you
from the
won't be able
street,
to see
yeah,
it.
no, we understand there will be visibility,
Long
even having
view.
set it back 2 feet from the facade at certain distances.
There will be, yeah.
But, you know, our purview is the view corridors that are close around the buildings,
Adjacencies,
that's what
yeah.
we're trying to do. And if you just go back that 10%, 2 feet, and, you know, figure out the engineering, I think you'd have a beautiful
Well, thank you for
covered
your time.
terrace.
Great.
Great, okay, thank
Do
you.
you have your card?
You know what, I don't think I have.
Okay, so,
If you worked with John Lewis 24
Yeah.
years ago, it just goes to show how young he was when he died.
Yeah, no, he was.
I mean, I'm just saying, you look young and you're,
I'm not that young.
but you're not that young, but you're not that old.
Yeah.
He was like 15.
He was in his early.
Kills me. It kills me to this day.
You can take some of these back.
but we were in our early
He's
30s
like
when he was in
3 or
his
4
early 50s, that's...
John, no.
I know.
Well, I remember John, right, so I joined 20 years ago, so 40.
So I was in my 40s, John was in his early 50s. Early,
So I was in my
like
late
52.
30s. yeah.
His kids were young.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 56 now, so, or no, I'm still 55.
I
until
want to
next
talk
month.
to you about your work with him.
Anyway, let's move on. Okay, so I propose the cobblestone. Let's just try and keep some order here. We've got a couple of things we need to talk about. On the agenda is the cobblestones, but we are remiss to have not talked about our 2018 accomplishments and 2019 goals. Laura Starr, you know, was, along with Mark, very, very interested in the cobblestones. I don't know where the lighting point came from.
That was
but,
for me.
okay, but what I propose to do is to push this to the next meeting, because I think it's really important for Laura to be here. Because she made all those, but she made all these comments about helping us, and so I tried to invite her this morning, and I couldn't find her email, so she's not here. So I think it would be gracious to hold this over to March and make sure Laura can join us.
The thing about the lighting was, we added this, I think, to our goals, was that in the historic districts, that the light poles be historic.
Bishop,
Like
thank
those
you all.
P-poles or whatever they're
Yeah,
called.
Bishop Kirk.
Yeah.
Okay,
that
so,
those
well,
should be
let's have the
historic.
conversation when we have the meeting.
So
So,
that's that one.
so let's move on to 2018 accomplishments and 2019 goals. We can only find our 2017 accomplishments, so let me read you what those were, because they're probably not that dissimilar. We reviewed and made recommendations to LPC on 41 applications for changes to individually designated landmarks or individual buildings in historic districts, of which the commissioners supported CB1's recommendations X number of times. So I think we should list how many applications we reviewed for 2018. We continue to build a stronger working relationship with the new leadership at Howard Hughes Corporation in order to have positive impact on the redevelopment of South Street Seaport and surrounding neighbourhood, and receive confirmation that any building on the new market site will not exceed a maximum of 120 feet. That was 17, here we are, 18, we should say that was a failure, right, because they changed their mind. We opposed the POPs zoning tax amendment and campaigned for better checks and balances and the preparation and inventory of the state and condition of the current POPs to be included in the eventual approved zoning text amendment to ensure there will be real community benefits for the loss of public amenity. We opposed the application for changes to 200 Water Street as the first POP application. We approved the application for changes to 140 Broad, the second POPs. We worked closely with the Trinity Church on extensive and long overdue internal and external restoration of the church and churchyard, and we worked closely with the developer of 45 Broad to provide input to the MTA on the more appropriately designed MTA elevator cover to the new J and Z subway entrances on Broad Street, which we failed. Met with the LPC chair in the summer, this is a famous meeting with Bruce's, in the summer of 2017 to try and encourage her to revisit the long overdue extensions to the various historic districts.
She's gone.
She's gone. And Sarah, sadly, who's taken over, is now seemingly even worse.
I don't
I wouldn't have
understand it.
expected that.
I
really wouldn't have.
I don't understand it.
So, would you like me to just turn through the resolutions and do a similar thing, identifying some
Yeah,
of the
and
key...
we'd like a meeting with Sarah, the new
So,
chair.
meet new chair, that's a goal for 2019.
The lighting,
Meet new chair.
cobblestone, poles,
Chair, set standards for,
light poles.
for light poles,
I'm
And
chairing the
cobblestone.
landmarks committee meeting right now.
cobblestones.
Oh, well, you know. Do you know what
Do
to
we
say?
want to continue to, what are we doing about Water Street? Do we want to continue to retain 200 Water as 120 foot maximum height?
Yeah.
Max 120, yeah. What else do we want to do in 2019?
Anything to do with the seaport? Anything we
Yeah,
can still do?
we want to,
Stay on top of the
we want,
seaport,
we
if
want
nothing else.
Do
the
we have
Seaport
any
Working Group
250
to,
Water Street? Do we have any?
Roger
250
said that.
Water, oh, you said 200, okay.
Oh, maybe look into better ways of notifying the community about applications, because we've been a little bit
Yeah.
sloppy about that
Mhm.
sometimes.
We need to, I don't know how you would express this, Roger, but we need to find a way to get our recommendations more, not clearly expressed, but more in the face of the Landmarks Preservation Commission. I don't know how you phrase that. We know,
or we
I
want
don't
to
think they read them
encourage
anymore.
LPC to read our applications.
Well, we should also be a little bit more, I mean, we used to, I mean, you
I was
guys
just
tell
telling
us
you
to
know,
go
we-
a lot, or even ask me to go or something, like.
Well, can you, I mean, can
Well, we
any of
should-
us go?
we should- Yeah, we can.
Just
Why
put out-
not?
Just put out an email.
Exactly,
Let
like,
everyone
you
go
know, I
on
mean,
this date and
if
time.
Mark goes one day and I
Well,
go
would
one
someone
day-
then go to this Beekman then?
What's the date?
March 12th.
March
he said.
12th.
And when
I would
is,
consider it if this is one that we
Right,
would-
so
wanna
we
get
want
up on that,
members,
you know?
committee members attend key
Only
LPC
takes one
meetings.
person.
yes, that's
yeah,
huge.
yeah,
But
yeah.
we've been saying that for years. And
I know,
by
but
and
we're all
large,
getting old and
only
busy.
you and I
I know,
have gone.
I know.
Just
Now,
have-
a little more notice, I would have done a couple if I had thought
Just throw
about
out an
it
email
more,
with the dates and then.
Yeah, we
That's
can
for
take
you to do, okay?
Right.
Put out,
Dates and
yeah.
times.
And back up, you were talking about public,
Oh, well, you know, other
we
community boards
post-
do, like, Community Board 2 actually makes their applicants, or they used to make their applicants post, like, within
Yeah,
300 feet.
that's what we
A
did for
notice
liquor
of the
licenses.
meeting, like, you had to do it, you could not come to the meeting to present.
Yeah.
So, that really ensures that the public you know, is aware, because it's kind of like, even I've experienced this, like on my project, I did a Euler project, a 74711. There was, everyone came to the landmarks meeting, and then when it came down to the line of the zoning meeting, a lot of people came and said, what happened to the landmarks meeting? But if they had really known, had been noticed about it, maybe more people would have come then. It becomes too late at a certain point
Yeah, no, I'm,
by the rules, you
I'm
know?
definitely for this, yeah.
I want someone to go to the Harrison thing. We lost,
That's the
for
thing.
those of
So
you who didn't
let's
read
start
it, we lost
I saw that,
Leonard altogether,
Yeah.
and
Right.
one guy agreed with us, and all the others, it was like they didn't, I don't think they read I honestly don't think. they
But
read the
I think
resolution.
Bruce is right. He just said to me quietly, I think we're getting into this, because we are forceful and because we don't cave into all of these applicants, we're suddenly now, I think, being put in the same place as people like the Historic Districts Council, where LPC say, forget what they say. We know they're against it. And, you know, we're not against everything, like this one, you know, but if they don't listen to anything we say,
Yeah.
then frankly, we're
What's the purpose?
somewhat, yeah. It's very disrespectful because we're volunteers, giving all of our time, have a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge of the neighbourhood, and the modifications we recommend, they should be thinking about, as opposed to just sitting there going, I think it's beautiful.
Which is, yeah. At this point, a number of us have more experience
Well, we won't
than
say
the
that.
sitting landmarks commissioners.
Okay,
And, you know,
so I'll
they
talk
get-
about.
they get taxpayer dollars and they, you know, they act like they're their own corporation. There's no press here, so I'll say it, but sometimes I've said it in public. I said, no, you're too nice to them.
And you're wearing your shit-kicking boots too.
Yeah.
It looks like.
It got me through Afghanistan.
It looks like that.
Okay, I'll work something up, and
There-
I'll,
One
there-
more
I'll
thing,
there- yeah.
occasionally, it doesn't happen as much anymore, but sometimes we do get an applicant that we can't review before the full board, because they're, so if the LPC can
Held
be better
over.
and,
They're not gonna do that, we pushed that for.
Put it on the
15
record.
Yeah, it should on there, and also Mark's
Yeah,
thing
but I-
about the guys who go in there and like do the thing and then walk it back, you know, like they do the, you know, I'd hate to bring up that, I won't even say the address, because we really laid it on them, where you go and put a handicap lift in and then
Yeah, oh
you
yeah, that's
come,
important.
whatever that
Right.
three-car garage-
hardship
it's
variances.
developers just do whatever they want because
Yes, they do.
the fine is nothing,
Installations without-
$5,000 is.
That could
Installation
be-
without
that could
permits,
be-
without installations, without.
Higher fines for
Without
violations.
That's a
permits
good
or
one.
approval.
That's a good one.
I mean, that particular one was done, they just didn't even have.
Better
anything.
enforcement of
We've
violations.
pushed
would
off
be more.
cobblestones for, by the way, for meeting after meeting, are we not doing it tonight?
No, because we need
No,
Laura Starr
Laura
to be
needs to be
here
here.
because she's so vocal about this. Whatever we
Oh.
say, if she's not part of the conversation, she'll go, you need me to be part of
And
the
why isn't
conversation.
she here?
That's a classic.
Well, I
Classic.
meant to invite her
You
this
know what?
morning,
You also
and I couldn't
invite,
find her email.
Diane Lapson.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Definitely, but she's ill, but I'd
Oh, I
love
didn't
to
know
have
that.
her. She had like, not a heart attack. She has, what do you call it, the breathing,
Oh,
like
asthma.
COPD
Yeah,
and that
COPD.
kind of
Respiratory,
thing, yeah, respiratory,
Oh, no, I
But yeah, let her,
a lot of
could
things.
be. Oh, she spoke.
Yeah, she did.
Very
She
heavy.
did, she did.
I remember.
All right,
We did it, right?
all right, so
Okay,
you're
I
gonna
know
write your
resolution.
resolution.